Welcome to the FaceTime with God podcast. I'm your host, Kay Farrar, and yes, you have tuned in to the right place because we're bringing Christ to the culture and the culture to Christ because the gospel's not for old times, it's for all times. So we've got relevant topics, real people, and we're starting right now. All right, so welcome to FaceTime with God. We are so happy to have you, Mr. Quintrel Lenore. Did I say the right name correctly?
You hit it on the head.
All right, QL. We are happy to have you in the building, in the studio. I can't wait to just learn more about what you do, you and your wife. I have you guys pulled up on your website, Lenore Coaching, which is so awesome. So, but before we jump into it, just first of all, just relax. We can laugh. We can tell jokes. We can rap.
Let's do it.
Whatever your flow is, we can go there. But I figured it would be nice to start off kind of just with a little bit of a warm up. All right, so that's what we're gonna do with the paddle. All right, so I'm gonna hit 2 categories. I had to really work really hard not to pick my normal because I do sports all the time, okay. And I was like, no, okay, we're not gonna do the sports this time. So we're going to do favorite foods, and then we're going to do just things you do to relax.
Okay.
And I'm really just going to call out a few music ones. So, all right. So in the category of favorite foods, if you like it, go ahead and give it the green. If not, you can give us the other side. Okay. But, all right, how about Italian food?
Oh, come on.
All right. Come on. How about old school soul food?
Come on, that would be blasphemous for me tonight.
Really? See, now a lot of modern day people don't do the old school. I'm talking, okay, so let's break this down.
Yeah.
Not the pig feet.
Oh, we do pig feet.
Really?
My dad is from Louisiana. We do pig feet for sure.
Chitlins?
We do chitlins.
What? All right, I'm going to go somewhere. You probably don't even know what this is.
Talk to me.
Sauce?
I've had it. So I'm not, that's not something I'm well versed in, but okay. I've had it. I don't know if I have a strong opinion against it. So I'm gonna just say yes.
That's way back in the day. Okay. You were in it with the old school soul food. I'm surprised. All right. How about from what you're telling, this is probably gonna be green too, but baked desserts like pies, cakes. All right, what's your favorite?
My favorite, you gonna judge me. You gonna try to pull my my black card. Pumpkin pie.
Really?
Yeah, I like
somebody else was telling me that, and I would judge you. You know what? I need to just get it. Okay, where can I get a good pumpkin pie? Because sweet potato all day.
And I'm not super familiar. I mean, I just get it seasonally at like Walmart or Kroger.
You even eat the ones out the store.
I know. Don't judge me.
Are they good?
They're good.
Anybody else had that?
I like both sweet potato and pumpkin pie.
You had the ones from Walmart.
I have the Patti LaBelle pie.
The Patti LaBelle.
Yeah.
Pumpkin?
But that's sweet potato. Yeah.
I store-bought pies. Okay, I might have to try a particular brand or
no.
No.
You don't get to being a big guy like myself by being particular.
Okay. I'm not mad at you. I'm not. All right. Yeah, I think I'm right down your alley. All right, mac and cheese.
Oh, come on.
All right. Do you make your own?
I don't. My mother-in-law makes the best.
I don't know. You know what? I have never met one guy that made mac and cheese.
I make it. It's just not on her level, so I therefore don't try to.
I'm sure.
You know what I'm saying? So,
does she do multiple cheese? Does she do like a modern?
She has multiple
school?
Cheese. I think it's an old school sort of dish. She comes from Jersey, so
really
she does a good job.
I'm gonna have to. We gotta have macaroni and cheese bake off. All right. Fresh, crunchy vegetables, not cooked. Do you do those?
I do those.
Really?
I do those.
So you good with the crudites?
I am. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good on
it. All right. How about music-wise? Mm-hmm. If you just wanted to relax, how about jazz?
I do.
Okay.
It's gonna be lo-fi type of stuff.
Okay.
And I'll put like a Spotify playlist.
All right. What any favorites in particular?
I mean, I like John Coltrane. But I will plug this into Spotify, and then it'll probably start off with some John Coltrane, and then expose me to some other stuff.
You are a young old soul.
I am.
Oh my goodness! To call out John Coltrane. All right, how about hip hop?
Oh come on! I'm an MC, so if I'm listening like just every day, like workout, Lecrae. I'm a big fan of a guy named Dre Murray.
That's somebody new. I'm gonna write that one down.
These are kind of underground MCs.
Dre Murray.
So
I was flowing in the Holy Ghost when I said, we could rap.
We can spit some bars for real.
Okay, we're gonna do that. Trust, we will do that. All right. Do you listen to worship if you had to just pick it?
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah. I think I realized that I listen to more worship when like my spirit needs it. So recently, like I've been bumping some Todd Delaney. I love Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin is like, he's across all genres, but I love Kirk. Fred Hammond. Okay.
Wow, you are an old soul. Now see, now Kirk and Fred not. Fred, yes. Kirk, I would not put him in. When I say worship, I mean I'm talking about CCM style. Okay. Would you do that, or would you pick gospel between the two?
I like both. I think that. So I usually like I fellowship at the Life Church, but we used to fellowship at Motivation, which is multi-ethnic. So I do like contemporary CCM and gospel music.
Wow, you have a broad taste. This is really cool, Quintrel. So in addition to the fact that I understand that you and I have JMU in common.
That's right. Go Dukes.
Wow. So when is the last time you've been to a game there?
I haven't gone to a game in a long time. I went to campus about last year actually for the first time in about 5 or 6 years. My son had he's 10 years old. He had a basketball tournament. Okay. And so me and my wife, after we graduated, we actually worked at JMU for about 4 or 5 years. So cool. And we left about we left around 2018. Wow. So JMU grows so quickly. Wow. And so we've been back, 2 years ago. And it's just, the campus is beautiful. Yes, there's brand new buildings. They have a hotel there.
Look, they had a hotel there when I was there, and I stayed in it my freshman year. But it was Hojo's. I don't even know if Hojo's is still there across
like Port Republic. Nah, that ain't. That's off campus housing now. Okay,
it needed to be. It was off campus, and I was so excited we got to stay in Hojo's. Yeah, because we had our own AC. Okay, we had the bathroom right there in the room. I mean, it was a hotel. My mom was mortified though, but we were like whoop whoop. So awesome. All right, now this is really, I'm fixing to try to guess what position you played. And that's been a minute ago. Mm-hmm. You look like defense to me for some reason.
You're football. If you guess a position, you got to get some love for sure. You got defense. You said defense.
Yeah. See, now, that's bad because I do watch a lot of football.
It's okay.
But I don't know my positions that much. But I want to say defensive end, but I mean.
Yep, that's what I played.
Okay, cool.
That's what I played, Yep. Good job. That was really good.
Wow.
That's impressive. You know your football. Yep. Wow. Played D end. My roommate was Arthur Mopes, so he played about 9-10 years in the NFL. I played with a lot of really great, talented guys.
Wow. Yep. Now, see, this might shock you. You into football, you'll know this person. Mm-hmm. Charles Haley?
Yeah, the GOAT.
Pro Bowler.
Yeah,
Charles was ridiculous. Like, he was crazy.
I can imagine. I've heard stories.
I don't know why he would pick me out all the time. One time, we were in the student union, and, it has that balcony, the second. Mm-hmm. And I was up there, and I'm trying to figure, did he just run up there or whatever? But anyway, I'm up there with him. He picks me up, holds me over the balcony.
Oh, Lord.
And so, me, like, okay, I'm not going to scream because I figured that's why you picked me up. So, I'm not going to scream, and I'm not going to wiggle and do all that, because then he held me out with one hand.
That's crazy. So, he had you like Michael Jackson had the little baby. Man. That's wild. And
so I just was still in quiet until reasoning got back in his brain and he put me back in. Wow. But Charles, it was one guy, they would tease him. I guess he was a freshman football player, and he told him, look, when you run through the line, just stick your head up and just keep on running.
That's wild.
And the boy got told I'm going. They were just forever doing pranks and things on people, but Charles was amazing.
Yeah.
Gary Clark played at that time too. I don't know if you remember that name because he got drafted as well.
Mm-hmm.
So wow. So who's all right? We're gonna get off football in a second.
I love it.
But who is your favorite team now, college wise?
Oh, college wise, well, it's always
other than JMU.
Okay, other than JMU. I like to follow. I like to follow the oh man, what's his name? There's a kid. It's a kid from Boise State. He's a running back.
Really?
Gentry. He's a running back.
Okay.
I think it's Alvin Gentry. So he's really cool. And obviously, I'm following what Dion is doing.
I was reason I asked that because I was going for the bus, right?
Okay.
Man, I was all out of sorts last weekend because they had a bye week and I couldn't watch.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I think what both his sons, obviously, but Shador is really like phenomenal. And then Travis Hunter. Yeah, he's electric as an athlete. Yeah. You know, I'm enjoying. I think it's gonna be kind of bittersweet because like football is you're vulnerable to like transition. So when the boys are gone, it's gonna be a tough time. But it's cool to watch them now.
It's gonna be interesting. It really will. And so I think that is a good segue, honestly, what you just said into what you're doing about the transition, right? Yeah. Because I'm looking at your website, which is awesome, by the way. I'm so encouraged about what you and your wife are doing. It's just so awesome, like seriously. But what I see here, this is probably your mission, but you say, we help you decide purpose in your career. Tell me a little bit more about that and how you came to that.
That's good. So just kind of zeroing back, like my wife and I, we started Lenore Coaching back in 2019. And like our background has been sort of education and workforce development for like since we graduated college. And what we found, like, as we were working with young folks in school, like they're wanting to figure out what they're interested in and then try to gain the skills so that they can be qualified. This is why they're in college. And then once they're towards the tail end of graduating, they're trying to like gain work experience and networking and that jazz. So we thought like, you know, all of these conversations career coaching wise were exclusive to college students, but we found that it wasn't, because what ends up happening, what for us at that time, a lot of folks in our church community, family and friends would ask for career help, you know, stuff like, you know, obviously resume, cover letter, but as more sort of like in-depth questions about their careers as they got stuck. So stuff about how to sort of job search and how to rebrand yourself. So we started to realize like the same stuff we're doing with young adults is really applicable for older adults, folks that have been in the workforce for, you know, 20, 30 years and feel stuck in their careers. And so that's why we started Lenore Coaching. But the cool thing, I think, as entrepreneurs, you know, we started the business being really client-centered, where we have coaching programs and work one-on-one with adults. And what we found was like, usually when people change careers, it takes about 11 months because it is a process of like, how do you rebrand yourself? How do you job search? But what we found was like people that we were working with, they changed careers in about 6 months. And it wasn't anything, you know, off the wall that we were doing. But I think the secret sauce is just accountability. Like, when you and I want to go to the gym, we want to gain weight or lose weight, you know, a personal trainer is going to hold us accountable. So we know that whether I like it or not, I got to show up to work with, you know, Jerome to help me get fit, and I'm going to be there and he's going to hold me accountable. So we found out that the same thing is for us in careers. It's like the separators, like we need a tribe of folks to be in the trenches with us to hold us accountable. So we learned that really, really quickly. And then I think, like, purpose is an interesting thing that we kind of like, I'll say discovered is important because like all of us have a purpose. I think we actually don't have to look for it. You know, my worldview is that, you know, we're born, you know, God created us in his image and like he made us with a function and a purpose, right? And so I fully subscribe to like when it says in 1 Genesis 28, to multiply and subdue the earth, right? So that's one of our purposes. Absolutely. You know, God talks about to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Bring it. And then the third scripture, I think, is to make disciples of all nations, right? So what we found was like, even though we're working with clients that are trying to find careers, like underneath the surface, underneath the hood, it's like people really feel empty of purpose, right? And we fill the void and try to look for all these things to find it. So they get a better salary, but then they right back at square one about 6 months to a year later, like, all right, I'm making all this money, but it's still not quite checking the box for what I want. So I knew for us, as we're working with folks, that people get stuck in their careers because they don't know what their purpose is, and they're not operating in like the territory that is most fulfilling for them. So that's kind of like big picture of like how we got started and kind of like the purpose aspect of the work that we do.
Got it. That's so awesome. I love the fact you brought in the scriptures and everything. And so while we're kind of in that mode as well, tell us a little bit about your relationship with the Lord. How did you get saved? Tell us that story. Yeah,
man. So for me, like my identity growing up was really shaped around sports. I was blessed to have two parents that really worked hard to provide for me and my sisters. I come from 757 Virginia, so I grew up in Portsmouth. And so
Portsmouth in the house.
That's right. Where are you from?
Richmond, but my mom is from Hansborough area, Norfolk, but I got family in Portsmouth.
Okay.
So, I know about the fried crabs.
Okay.
So you don't have to explain it. I know all about it.
My follow-up question is, do you know about yacht?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that, because yacht is good.
You with it.
I might have to make some. My mom my mom lived with me, up until she was 90 past, but I would have to make it for her. I had to make make the sauce.
Wow.
Yeah. And the crab sauce as well, because the sauce is the thing with the crabs.
So it's one thing to have the man to come to the job and provide yacht for the whole crew, but you was out there making it. So I'm impressed.
Yeah.
All right. Your question. So like, how did I come to know the Lord? So for me, like my parents did a really good job of just like pouring into me and my sister. So my dad is in the Navy. My mom was in healthcare. She's been a nurse. And so I really watched them like bootstrap. So like my like from my mom not being like not having a college degree, I watched her work and go to college. I watched my dad be, enlisted in the Navy and work himself up to being like an IT man. So I had the privilege of just having parents that worked and provided a phenomenal job. So because of their how they work, they plugged me into sports to stay engaged. My mom always said that, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Yeah,
that's one of those old. They're gonna tell you that right before they spank your butt.
That's right. Look, I only do this because I love you.
Yeah,
that's what mom always said. So I was blessed because of them watching their work ethic, and I was fortunate because they kept me engaged in sports and co-curriculars growing up. That helped me to just be a good athlete. I was born genetically 6'5" and just athletic. So I was.
You were born 6'5"?
I wasn't born. You get what I'm saying? If I was born 6'5", with some
Exactly.
But just them plugging me in, my identity was wrapped around sports. And I think it was just kind of just my pathway of them keeping me engaged. But because of that, like when I went to college, I really had a difficult time. I had these high expectations and really unrealistic expectations for myself. Like I think that, as a Black man, like I want to prove myself to other people. Like being an athlete, it's competitive, it's ego driven. And so those are good things, by the way. Like to have an ego, to be competitive, those are innately good. It becomes too much when your identity is compromised. And for me, when my identity was just like, okay, I have to be the starter, or I have to be an all conference player. I gotta be an NFL.
Alpha male. Then.
I gotta be I gotta be him.
Okay.
So that's, and having that mindset, I wasn't getting the playing time that I wanted, so I was frustrated. And then simultaneously, I would get into fights in practice. Okay. And so after about 2-3 years of like just going against the grain and having these frustrations with myself, my teammates, my coach was like, bro, we done with you. It came to a head where, my junior year, I had these high expectations because it was just going to be me and Moats pretty much as the top guys. But literally the last practice before we go into spring ball, we had this, it's called stations. And so stations is a workout where you go from station to station and it's high intense. And I just remember being in the best shape of my life, right? Because I'm out to kind of prove myself. But as we're doing these stations, like you're kind of in a line with your teammates. And so it's Moats in front, I'm right behind him. And then, my teammates behind me. And so we're at one station where my position coach, Coach Price at the time, like one of my teammates kept hitting the bags as we're going over. And I'm in front of him. So I really don't see what's happening. So he hit the bag. He did this like 3 or 4 times. And then after like the 4th time, he says like, yeah, coach, I can't move because Q is in front of me. And so for me, it was like, how is anything I'm doing got anything to do with you? Right. So it was like a switch. And that's a normal person that's like, you have some self-regulation, self-control, that ain't going to affect you. But because I think I had so much pressure on myself, that like I just flipped and I bucked on him in practice. It escalated. This is in the middle of a workout, right? So you got 80 something. So you like slam him in the ground and whatnot? I didn't slam. I actually didn't physically put my hands on him. I had to be separated. But what happened was, like, as my coaches were separated, as my head coach Mickey Matthews at the time, he kind of pulled me aside, and he was like, "What's going on?" And so I'm just telling him at the time, like, I'm trying to prove myself, and then he tells me to just leave, and so I left, and then I turned around to him. I didn't physically touch him. But I gave him a gangster grill. I let him physically know, like, the head coach.
Lord.
So that is what led to me being dismissed. And I know it's a long story, but the point I'm making is like, I remember praying a prayer before, like in that same season, because people were like just dropping gems about like who Jesus is and the gospel. My girlfriend at the time, who's my wife, you might send me text messages. We would go to like Friday night service from time to time. And then I would just hear the word. Like one of my strength coaches was a believer. And so in that time, like it just kind of culminated while I got kicked off the team. But I prayed a prayer, a dangerous prayer. So this is a disclaimer, like be careful what you pray for. And I prayed, God, like remove anything out of my life that doesn't belong. Right. So I did get kicked off the team. But the crazy thing is I ended up keeping my scholarship.
I was about to ask you, were you on scholarship and how did that?
Yeah, and I was able to finish my degree. And that's how I came to Christ. How I gave my life to him.
Hey fam, here's some more good news. Romans 10:13 says, whoever calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. That means delivered from danger, rescued, protected, preserved, so that you would do well and be made whole. If you've never prayed this prayer, if you want to just confess it again, join us as we pray. Lord Jesus, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. I believe you died for me and paid the penalty for all my sins. I know I've not done everything right, but that's why I'm calling on you to save me, to wash me in your blood, to forgive me for all of my shortcomings, to make me whole again from the inside out. I will walk with you. I will follow you. I thank you for showing me through your word and by your spirit how I need to walk, how I need to live before you. Lord, I thank you for removing any blockage in my mind, in my environment. Lord, I thank you for sending your angels to protect me and to lead me in the way that I should go. According to Romans 10:13, I am saved. If you prayed that prayer, the angels in heaven are rejoicing, and so are we. Write "I'm saved" in the comments so we can celebrate with you. Get connected with some strong, balanced Bible believers in your area who can help disciple you. Talk to the Lord every day about your decisions and check out our video, The Greatest Superhero.